This is Mind Your Own Business, brought to you by UBA, Africa's global bank.
Hello and welcome to Mind Your Own Business, brought to you by UBA, Africa's global bank. Thank you for joining us. Mind your own business. What's that about? Don't get it twisted. When we say mind your own business, we don't mean to be rude. Indeed, quite the opposite. We want to help you make the most of the business opportunities in Africa's largest economy, Nigeria. So this program is one you don't want to miss if you plan to or you are already doing business in Nigeria. Today we celebrate entrepreneurial successes, but more importantly, we share knowledge. We help you discover if you are an entrepreneur and what type of entrepreneur you are. And our guests inspire you with their business stories and offer valuable insights into doing business in Nigeria. After the break, we bring you a very interesting story about an internet-based business in Lagos. You don't want to miss that. That's coming up right after this break.
Creative industries have emerged as one of the leading sectors in the economy.
Starting up a small recording studio in my dad's garage is all it took.
My story was more like experimenting with a variety of flavors, baking cupcakes, brownies, donuts.
Breakthroughs are usually when you find a new way to do something.
Oh well, me and my sister set up a fashion label because we just couldn't find what we wanted in shops.
Breaking rules and great stories start with how you dare to do things different.
So, how do you start and sustain a business?
All these and more as Africa's global bank, UBA, presents Mind Your Own Business, a radio program designed to initialize, educate, and motivate young entrepreneurs emerging as strong players in the local and global economy. Stay tuned for Mind Your Own Business, proudly brought to you by UBA, Africa's global bank.
You're listening to Mind Your Own Business, brought to you by UBA, Africa's global bank.
Welcome back to the show. This is Mind Your Own Business, brought to you by Africa's global bank, UBA. All right, let's now talk to our guests. So we're talking about businesses. How do you do business in Nigeria? And today the theme of our conversation is, what does it take to be an entrepreneur in this country? And our guest today is the CEO and founder of a business that has gone online. So he's not just selling on the streets, he's selling to you online. And you get to find out from the founder of Drinks.Ng, Lanre Akinlagun. He tells us his story. Lanre, thank you so much for coming in today.
Thanks a lot.
All right, so let's talk a bit about your story. Tell us, where did it all start? Because we really want to find out what it takes. What does it really take to do business in Nigeria? Everyone talks about Nigeria being such a tough place to do business, from the ports to the roads to the traffic. There's a problem everywhere you look, but you obviously took the plunge a few years ago. Tell us your story.
I grew up in the UK. I spent a lot of time working in internet-focused businesses, working at IBM, worked at some internet startups as well before moving to Nigeria. So how it all started is I came to Nigeria for a friend's wedding. He needed drinks. I was put in charge of trying to help him with that. Found out that the only place to go was a hot, open, dirty market. To get the best quality drink, best priced drinks in Nigeria. So
what are we saying? We're talking like Tejo, Show, or Okeari. Okay,
that's probably where most people go to. And I just felt that it was unnecessary to go through that. I just didn't, just didn't think it was necessary. And that's kind of where the seed was sowed.
All right. So you obviously saw an opportunity. So what have you done with that? And tell us that story. What has happened to your business and how far has it come?
So in the last 2.5 years, we're predominantly the biggest online drinks company in Nigeria. Obviously, we have partnerships with most of the other e-commerce companies. We have good relationships with all the drink companies as well. We distribute and we supply in Lagos, Port Harcourt, Abuja. We have also actually got 2 physical stores as well, because we feel like there's a big opportunity for off-licenses. So off-licenses are just places that are like supermarkets, but the thing is we only sell drinks, nothing else, or drink-related products, shall I say.
All right, so you've picked your niche, obviously, but let's play with this theme about entrepreneurship, because that's what we're talking about today. What would you say about being an entrepreneur in a country like Nigeria? Would you say, like everyone talks about the likes of Dangote, how far he has come, would you say someone like Dangote is born or are they made? What's your view on that?
I think both come into it. I think there's some leaders that are born, and I think based on the individual's resilience and ambition and desire, can be made.
Yeah.
I think the best examples I give for this is that if you take, for instance, a Lionel Messi and a Ronaldo, if you watch any video about Lionel Messi growing up playing football, and you watch him, he's played the same ever since he's been a child.
So someone like that was born.
He was born
play.
to be a great footballer. His movement, his structure, his pace, everything, how he attacks with the ball is literally identical to how he plays now. Nothing has changed. However, if you look at Ronaldo over the years, even from the days at Manchester United till Real Madrid, he just keeps on evolving as a player. Like, he doesn't look the same. He's changed. He's key attributes change, his key strengths change, and you can always see. I remember his last years at Manchester United, he scored a lot of goals with his head. Obviously, he was going on at a stage of focusing to try and improve his heading. He's moved on from that. There was a stage he was just scoring free kicks. So obviously his focus then was improving that. So I think with those two guys, it's the same as entrepreneurship. I mean, at the end of the day, being a footballer to me is also like entrepreneurship, because you're running your own business, which is you.
So for an entrepreneur who perhaps he says, I've been struggling with this, I've been trying to make my business work, I failed at this and that, what's your message to that person?
Whatever your weaknesses are, you either try to improve on them or you hire someone that can improve them.
Right.
But one way or the other, if you have a desire to succeed in something, your desire has got to be over and becoming more than anything else.
So you think that desire itself is a sign?
Desire is the only thing. Without desire, you're not going to succeed in being an entrepreneur, especially not in Nigeria.
All right. Nigeria is a tough place, no question about it. So let's talk about, if you like, the tools of an entrepreneur. What does it take? What are some of the themes that come to your mind when you're thinking, okay, I'm an entrepreneur, especially in Nigeria with all its challenges?
In Nigeria, to be an entrepreneur, you got to have thick skin. And when I say thick skin, I don't mean
like double thick, I imagine.
I mean, don't cream for 1 year kind of thick skin. Like really, really.
There are too many challenges, I guess.
The problem in Nigeria is your challenges don't come and go. They stay there consistently. They don't disappear.
Right. So you have to just keep facing it.
You just have to keep facing it, and then you have to be able to overcome those challenges and stop looking at them as challenges and accept them and work around them. If not, I mean, you'll break down. Nigeria's, it's not just the landscape that's tough. It's not just the environment that's tough. It's not just the infrastructure that's tough, but it's the culture, it's the attitude, it's the foresight, everything is there's a problem everywhere, but there's also an opportunity everywhere.
Right, you're doing a business that has several locations. So tell us from your experience, what have been some of the biggest challenges you've had to face?
Competency. I mean, I think the base of any business in Nigeria, the biggest challenge is competency.
That's
competency
people,
in
right?
Staff. Competency in staff and customers, to be honest with you.
So the customers are a problem.
No, I wouldn't say a problem. You
have to
customers
deal with
believe
them.
that they're right. That's fine. But in large scenarios where they're actually wrong, a lot of them think they know what they want, but they actually don't. But because there isn't a structure of learning and understanding, it's like, my cousin has come from America, he tells me this is how it's meant to be. So this is how in his head it's meant to be. This is what he wants, this is how it's meant to be. And they don't have the open-mindedness to look at somebody that they actually have the ability to know what is better. So if it's come from America or England, that's how it's meant to be. And now I'm in Nigeria, you do it that way. Where it's not always the case. Things are structured differently everywhere, and people's knowledge base and competencies also confliction with what actually is the best way to do it.
Right, so people are a big challenge. So let's take this conversation to what I describe as tough decisions you have to take as an entrepreneur. And we can start with the people thing, hiring and firing. And you've been in this business for a couple of years. Is that a tough decision to make?
Tough in terms of hiring or firing?
Let's start with firing, because you hire them first and then you find out they're not exactly what you want, and then you have to let them go, right? Is that a tough decision to make?
When I first came, it was tough. Now it's like a speeding bullet. If you're in and you're bad, you're out. That's just really it. I mean, we're trying to grow a business, not a charity. I mean, if you want a situation where you're not going to contribute to a business to earn your salary, then I'm sure the civil service are hiring loads of people.
I think you're knocking Nigeria civil service. We have a new president now. They're trying to change things.
Yes, they are trying to change things, and it will come. But as it is now, it is what it is. I mean, the civil service have a patience and a longevity for civil service career people. When you're an entrepreneur, everything is about speed, aggression, and knocking things down as fast as possible to achieve something. So if they don't have it, they don't have it. So yeah, hiring and firing is something that comes part and parcel with an entrepreneur building a business, and there's nothing you can do about that.
No, well, we're going to still stay with that thing, but hold that thought. We have to go in for a commercial break right now. You're still listening to Mind Your Own Business, brought to you by UBA Africa's Global Bank. We're back on the other side of this break.
Coming up on Mind Your Own Business.
How much sleep do you get?
I struggle to sleep because you literally want something to be successful. Every day there's a problem that needs a solution. It's on your mind. The last thing that's on your mind is sleep.
Creative industries have emerged as one of the leading sectors in the economy.
Starting up a small recording studio in my dad's garage, it's all it took.
My story was more like experimenting with variety of flavors, baking cupcakes, brownies, donuts.
Breakthroughs are usually when you find a new way to do something.
Oh well, me and my sister set up a fashion label because we just couldn't find what we wanted in shops.
Breaking rules and great stories start with how you dare to do things different.
So, how do you start and sustain a business?
All these and more as Africa's Global Bank, UBA, presents Mind Your Own Business, a radio program designed to initialize, educate, and motivate young entrepreneurs emerging as strong players in the local and global economy. Stay tuned for Mind Your Own Business, proudly brought to you by UBA, Africa's Global Bank.
Welcome back. You're still listening to Mind Your Own Business, brought to you by Africa's Global Bank, UBA. This is Wale Famariwa, your host, and my guest today is the founder and CEO of www.Drinks.Ng. So it's an internet-based company focused on drinks, as the name implies. Lanre Akinlagun is his name. Thank you so much, Lanre, for staying with us today. All right, so earlier you were talking about speed, aggression. So those are some of the traits that an entrepreneur needs. And where that is missing, I just want to get your perspective on the cost of that. You know, you've talked about the fact that you've had to fire, and you say it as though it's not a tough decision anymore. It's something you just have to do. But tell us what businesses miss out on when they don't have that, approach to dealing with tough decisions like that.
I mean, it's never nice to fire people, but at the end of the day, if you're trying to grow a business and be successful, you need the right people in place for that to happen. So what other businesses are probably lacking if they find it difficult to make those decisions is they'll find their businesses either growing slowly, not growing well, the right things not being done, which inadvertently affects their bottom line and affects their business. So you got to remember everything about, apart from being an entrepreneur, running a business, whether it's as a manager or as an entrepreneur, is all about growth. And to get growth, you need the right people in place.
Running the business, and some people find that very difficult. So they have an idea, they want to get out there, they want to get it done. They have the aggression that you talk about. But then, of course, we know that to run a business, there's a structure behind that. So, and there is some learning about how to manage that structure. So we're talking about things like managing your money, operations, logistics. Tell us about the need to develop that and maybe your experience. Are those things that you probably acquired from where you used to work before, or are these things that you've had to learn on the job as you started your business?
I would say a bit of both. Obviously, everybody has some of their core skills that they've learned over the years from whatever job it is they used to do. But as it stands right now, my history has been in digital marketing. However, I'm a digital marketer, I'm a field marketer, I'm an accountant, I'm a salesperson,
right?
I'm a cleaner, I'm an administrator. I'm whatever I need to be at any point in time that benefits the business.
Right. But hang on, Larry, I've spoken to some people and they say they just don't have all these things. I mean, for instance, they can be a great artistic person, they have the ideas, but they're not great at marketing. How does someone who doesn't have it all, the way you've put it, how do they manage that?
Oh, I never said I had it all. I never said that. I have learned to do it. Am I great at it? No. I have an accountant. Am I better than him at his job? No. But do I know his job? Yeah, you have to have an idea because you need to learn what other people are doing for various reasons. If they're not there, if they're not in, is he doing a rubbish job? Is he good at it? Can he do better? If I know my accountant's job as well as he does, then he's not a good accountant.
Right. So to some extent, you're an accountant, you're a marketer, you are the
you have
CEO.
To have knowledge, just base knowledge.
Right.
You have to be able to interpret what your staff do. How do I know my cleaner's doing a good job if I'm not looking at the cleaning or doing the cleaning? You know, till now, I look at the, you know, the store and I look at the shelves. Sometimes I go around, I clean them when she's not there, and I realize that, hang on a minute, some of these bottles are really dusty. That means you're not cleaning back there.
Right.
But you've got to do these things. Or, you know, the accountant, if the checks and balances are not balanced, and I know, okay, if this is wrong, then how many other things are wrong? I have to look at those things. So you just got to have a knowledge, is what I'm trying to say. You don't have to be great at all of it. If you can be, then, well, fantastic.
Right. But another way out, though, some people suggest that partnerships may be a way around it. So, for instance, you don't have all the skills. You are great at operations, but you're not great at marketing. Maybe it makes sense to partner with someone who is a great marketer. Do you think that generally works?
I'm sure that's just called hiring, right?
No, okay, but let's put it this way. Say, for instance, you know, of course, these are massive companies today. So we're talking about the likes of Google. So we have two partners who came together to create what is one of the biggest businesses in the world today. That partnership, do you think it's two CEO type people, or is it two people who are lacking one thing or the other, and then because of that they need to work together?
I mean, you got to remember, at our stage, we can't think about solutions like that, because that could possibly work for both of them at their level and at their scale. One, they could possibly afford it. Two, the level of talent needed to combine those two skills and professionalism marrying together may work for them. But at our level, those simply aren't great solutions. You need everything in-house. You need to be able to see everything, control everything, and make sure that things are going in the direction that you want them to go.
So at the end of the day, you really just have to learn this thing.
You do. You really do. If you don't, then you need to find competent people that you can trust to manage it, and to be able to give you the feedback, both verbally and on paper, that what you need them to do is being done right.
And of course, putting all this energy into a business like this, we have to ask the question, how much sleep do you get? I mean, you're the accountant, you're the marketer, you're the CEO. Is that the price of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, I caught 5 minutes on my way here. I'll catch 5 minutes on my way leaving. It's a commitment, right? You know, I struggle to sleep because you literally want something to be successful. So every day there's a problem that needs a solution. It's on your mind. The last thing that's on your mind is sleep. You need to fix this thing. Like, there's something wrong, I need to fix it. And you're in bed thinking about how you can fix it. You wake up in the morning and you get it fixed. You know, that's generally what I think comes along with the life of an entrepreneur.
Right, but I guess that passion is what really drives you.
Yeah, it is.
So it keeps you going.
Yeah, I mean, the minute
gives you the energy.
The minute you can go to sleep easy with a problem in your business, I'd advise you close the business.
I hear you. Okay, let's talk about help, though, because I imagine you can't do it all by yourself. So in terms of the things that an entrepreneur needs, so we're talking about things like finance, we're talking about logistics. What's the best way to acquire all of that?
Try. I don't know.
Is the answer gradually?
With a very heavy heart, head, soul, the solutions are still being worked on. Nigeria is a very tough terrain, and I mean, logistics in Nigeria is literally the devil's playground. It's the solution's not there. It's, you know, the only way that we manage to deal with it is, you know, you try to pick times, the best time, try to study your routes, but at the same time, ultimately, it's about communication. If you communicate with customers, we all live in Nigeria, right? If I tell you that last man stopped me, you got to believe it, because I'm sure he stopped you. So we try to communicate as much as possible. We try to avoid these things, but Nigeria is Nigeria. And in terms of funding, which I think you mentioned as well, I mean, it's one of two things. If you're out there actively trying to seek funding, I guess you'll have your people that you work with that you know can talk to the right people to try and get you funding.
But you know, there's people out there that really do not know where to go. Is that like a defeatist mentality?
No.
Because that's the truth. Some people say, I have this idea, but I don't know where to go.
That's not a defeatist mentality. That's an employee mentality. So your job would be to get a job after that. Because I've been an employee my whole life. I've had the desire to run my own business. And I remember when I joined my last internet startup, and it's actually a friend of mine that runs it, and we were driving past somewhere one day talking about the business, and he said to me straight away while we were talking that, I said, do you think anyone will leave anytime soon? He said, yeah. I said, you'll be the first to leave. He's like, what? What do you mean I'll be the first to leave? He said, you've got an entrepreneur spirit. You will leave first. And I didn't leave first because I had a strong desire and passion for the business, but I did leave to start my own business. And I think at that point in time, I didn't know how to run a business. I didn't know how to get financing. I didn't know how to do anything to do with those things. But you know what? It's the internet age. It's the information age. You go out there and find it. You go out there and talk to people. You go out there and it's knowledge is out there. You just need to just go get it. That's all it is. So if you don't know how to get knowledge or can't be bothered in learning how to get it, then, as I say, no disrespect, but I think you've got a life of an employee ahead of you.
I hear you. I think you're helping people appreciate what it takes now. But thank you so much for speaking to us. We'll continue this conversation after the break. You're still listening to Mind Your Own Business, brought to you by Africa's Global Bank, UBA. We're back on the other side of this break. Stay tuned.
Coming up on Mind Your Own Business.
The cost of delivery is high, and to come there, you don't want it, and to take it back, it's a cost and it's a loss. And I know it's the business we're in, but it's not easy in Lagos to go through that.
Creative industries have emerged as one of the leading sectors in the economy.
Starting up a small recording studio in my dad's garage, it's all it took.
My story was more like experimenting with variety of flavors, baking cupcakes, brownies, donuts.
Breakthroughs are usually when you find a new way to do something.
Oh well, me and my sister set up a fashion label because we just couldn't find what we wanted in shops.
Breaking rules and great stories start with how you dare to do things different.
So, how do you start and sustain a business?
All these and more as Africa's Global Bank, UBA, presents Mind Your Own Business, a radio program designed to initialize, educate, and motivate young entrepreneurs emerging as strong players in the local and global economy. Stay tuned for Mind Your Own Business, proudly brought to you by UBA, Africa's Global Bank.
You're listening to Mind Your Own Business, brought to you by UBA.
You're welcome to the most exciting business show on radio, Mind Your Own Business, brought to you by Africa's Global Bank, UBA. My guest today is Lanre Akinlagun, the CEO of www.Drinks.Ng. Of course, he is selling drinks in Nigeria and he's making a business out of it. All right, so you talked about the aggression, you've talked about the entrepreneurial spirit. Let's now begin to bring it together in terms of what you would say to entrepreneurs there, the key traits, especially from your experience, what you've learned over the 3 years that you've been in business, especially in Nigeria. And I want you to talk about everything from the customer and how to deal with the customer, the challenges, the infrastructure challenges that Nigeria offers, and then, of course, just being dogged in trying to make it in Nigeria.
See, with Nigeria, right, just forget about the problems, because at the moment, no disrespect to the government and the current president or governor, I've stopped thinking about them or looking towards them as a solution, because even if they do have the solution, the problems are so ingrained that it's going to take a long time for them to be solved. So any business waiting for them to be solved should just not.
So we're talking about everything from power to the traffic.
Yeah, there's no point in individualizing
and even the network,
them.
So you're trying to call somebody, you can't even
exactly
make a phone call.
Yeah, so there's no point in individualizing the problems because there are too many of them to factor in. So you just got to find your own solutions. I mean, Nigeria is tough, Nigeria is hard, and to some degrees it's almost impossible and it's expensive. But it's a large country with a lot of potential. The people are screaming out for improvement. They're screaming out for change. A change in how things are done. ShopRite has come to Nigeria and they've changed the face of retail. Now you see everybody opening retail chains. It's a bit unfortunate that Nigerians always have to wait for foreign companies to come and show them the way before they take very obvious steps of business directions. But
so what ShopRite is doing is something you think we could have done decades ago.
We should have built our own retail chain years ago.
Right.
I mean, there are negatives and positives to everything. So, yeah, ShopRite and loads of South African companies, MTN.
Yeah.
I mean, Nitel failed for years, right? No problem they failed. But it was a Nigerian that saw an opportunity to build MTN. However, he had to go to South African companies to get it done. That looks very poorly on us, because especially since we call ourselves the giants of Africa. We're the richest economy. However, we do nothing. We just have money. Which doesn't, is good for me because they end up spending it on drinks, so it's not such a bad thing. But
well, I imagine business has been fairly good. I mean, but let's talk about how you've been able to weather the storm. So we're talking about the creativity. You've talked about challenges. Everyone has challenges. So let's find out, maybe if you can give us some anecdotes of how you've been able to creatively deal with some of these issues.
We haven't weathered the storm all. This year has been hard. This year's been a very hard
tough
year.
one,
It's
huh?
been a tough year. I mean,
Everyone seems to say that.
I'm pretty sure there's nowhere in the world where a country completely shuts down. As Nigerians, we always find a way to excel in any terrain that Nigeria gives to us because man has to eat, right?
Right.
So business.
So give
has
us
to
some
go on.
examples. So maybe if logistics or ideas, you've found a way to deal with some of these issues.
You see, the thing with Nigeria is it's hard to give an example how you deal with an overall problem. It's easier to give specific scenarios.
Okay, let me give you one because
Yeah.
I did read this up and I know that in your business you do no cash on delivery and you do no free delivery.
Nah.
Some other people are offering that, and I don't know, are they learning hard lessons here? What is it about Nigeria that doesn't allow you to do that?
I guess the question you got to look at the people that are offering it. Are they still offering it? The people that are offering it, are some of them still in business? At the end of the day, you need to offer to people what is sustainable. Some of them may not like it, but is it sustainable? Why do you want me to deliver this to you? Because you don't want to get stuck in traffic. You don't want to waste money on petrol. You want to guarantee that you get it. Well, you need to be able to put the business that is trying to deliver that to you in the same scenario as you.
Hey.
We face those traffics. We face the petrol. We face the LASMAs. We face the police. We face the area boys. The cost of delivery in Nigeria is too expensive. You know, the channels of destruction to just deliver an item are hard. So all we're asking for is a token of commitment.
So there's a price.
Yeah, there's
that
a
people
price for commitment. And
should pay for
you
that.
pay the price of commitment.
Okay,
which
but
is
what
very
about
small.
the thing about no cash on delivery? Why is it
It's
not
part of the
okay?
commitment. You
Why
know,
is it not okay
yeah.
for you to allow them to bring it in and then?
So here's the
Okay.
thing. Here's the thing, right? Cash on delivery was a method to rapidly expand e-commerce and build trust within the e-commerce industry.
Wrong strategy?
It's a strategy that they've used, right? Which is fine, and we're grateful for them to do it. However, is enough. You know, is enough. We know now. These are the businesses. These are the businesses we can trust. It's built with trust. We haven't had a scenario where we cannot be trusted. We have physical stores, so if something goes wrong, come and meet us. Come and arrest us if you think we've stolen your money, which is not the case. You know, we've put ourselves out there. So just we need to be able to come and, you know, to get commitments from you that you want this product, because the cost of delivery is high, and to come there you don't want it, and to take it back, it's a cost and it's a loss. And I know it's the business we're in, but it's not easy in Lagos to go through that.
But the
you know,
business has grown regardless, right?
Oh, exactly. The business is growing. We have people that you know would order drinks worth of 1 million naira from our website.
Wow,
There's people
1
that
million
order for
naira of
weddings,
drinks.
2 million naira, and you know, and there's people that from the UK that will order on our website and say deliver to some people. So we have the trust because, you know, we're in the press, we're out there, we have physical stores, people can see us. We're here now, you know, so we put ourselves out there.
As we begin to round up, let's talk about the value of the internet. So, which is a big part of your strategy in putting you out there. Tell us what has been the value as internet penetration continues to increase in a country like Nigeria.
You know, with our business, we have a big player in the field in Okeari, and they're not on the internet. So our competition really is offline.
Yeah.
The online field has allowed us to spread our wings, promote ourselves, get our name out there, gain a significant competitive advantage with our brands being created and trusted. So
all right,
that's what we do.
Okay, now we really have to wrap it up. Thank you so much for speaking to us. Been speaking to Lanre Akinlagun, the CEO of Drinks.Ng, and that's where we wrap it up on the show today. Remember, if you have any comments or suggestions about what you've listened to on the show today, please find us on Twitter. Use the hashtag #MindYourOwnBusiness. I'm your host, Wale Famrewa, thanking you again for joining us today. Thank you very much for listening. I'll be back here next week.
Creative industries have emerged as one of the leading sectors in the economy.
Starting up a small recording studio in my dad's garage is all it took.
My story was more like experimenting with variety of flavors, baking cupcakes, brownies, donuts.
Breakthroughs are usually when you find a new way to do something.
Oh well, me and my sister set up a fashion label because we just couldn't find what we wanted in shops.
Breaking rules and great stories start with how you dare to do things different.
So, how do you start and sustain a business?
All these and more as Africa's Global Bank, UBA, presents Mind Your Own Business, a radio program designed to initialize, educate, and motivate young entrepreneurs emerging as strong players in the local and global economy. Stay tuned for Mind Your Own Business, proudly brought to you by UBA. Africa's Global Bank.
That was Mind Your Own Business. Brought to you by UBA, Africa's Global Bank.